So we got reinforced corners, tons of stitching. There's a strip of nylon in here. Double stitching down the side. Plenty of tie-off points. Got these little hooks for guy lines. We're gonna leave this up for the next week and let the mountain winds just batter it to hell. Let's see how tough it is. There's our simulated rain test. Because we ain't got no rain out here. ATV's getting a wash too. It's always good. We get some pretty good wind activity. I came out here this morning and had to redo a couple of the pegs, stakes, but it's holding up pretty good. Well, see, we're getting some wind right up under it. That's going to be a good test. Now look where my bungee cords are versus where it connects to the tarp. That's one downfall of bungee cords, is if you want to stake this thing out to where it's it has some tension on it, you're going to pull it down some. That's all right. So now we got some wind and water. Now for those of you who are used to seeing the weighted hang test, that's what I typically do when I either don't have time to long-term test a tarp. I'm going to leave this up for at least a week, and it's going to get the water twice a day. Oh, I just got hit. And it's going to get the winds, because we're still getting out of spring up here in the mountains, so we're getting some, you know, up to 30-mile-an-hour winds, and yeah, that's a perfect test for it. So we've got a static load on every corner and the apex, and then we have dynamic loads when the wind comes. So perfect test, man. So you've got these tiny little holes up in here, right where the mesh meets this pull-out point, tie-down point. And I barely found it. It was hard to find. And so my knots fit through there, and I was also able to finagle their own locking system, their tensioning system through there. So that was good to know. I was going to be mad if I had to remove that again. My bungee cords are at least 10 feet up, so I'm pulling it down and we're about touching the ground. So I'm 5'9". So if you're using a ridge line, you're going to want just over 6 feet. That's about where you want to start off, and then you can adjust it from there. So pulling it out and looking at it was pretty daunting. I didn't think I would ever figure it out. Okay, so I am a dummy. There's a tie-off point right here toward the end. That's where your guy line is supposed to come to go through here. And I just realized it once I tried to get the other side. You see how tight that is already? That means your ends, you're gonna lose a whole bunch of space because the corners of your tarp are just going to drape down. So you're basically going to have this small square of coverage from this net and your tarp. So that's my second complaint. why not put these holes to go through your mosquito net down at the corner where the corner tie down of the tarp is, so you have more coverage. So I'd call that a design flaw or what, because now you're losing a whole bunch of tarp coverage and you could have more mosquito net coverage. So let me undo the freaking guy lines and sort all this crap out and we'll see. Alright, so that was exactly what I was thinking would happen. If you want this perfect pitch, where you've got like what looks like a family freaking picnic style setup, you're gonna need a whole bunch of trees around you to connect to. Otherwise, this is what you get. Or you're gonna have to prop a bunch of sticks up because I'm gonna end up with just enough coverage to have a hammock in there. It's not gonna be like 3 or 4 chairs like they put in their advertising. You know, and that's okay. It's not, the tarp is super light. The mosquito net is giant. They give you a ton of pegs, a bunch of cordage. So, you know, the value for your money is outstanding. You just have to be, you're just gonna need some realistic expectations on how you're going to set this up, because again, if you don't have trees all around you, you're not gonna be able to pitch it the way they did. Okay, so not too bad. I'm gonna stake these out and see how it holds up against the wind. I'll just show you guys what we're looking at on the inside. So not too bad. Okay, I will admit when I'm wrong. So here's the edge of the tarp. We're standing at it. So to get out of the rain, I've got to come out to here. Okay, so there's my feet. Yeah, that's pretty roomy. So I'm standing straight up, right in the center. So I guess if you have a ridge line, you're gonna want this at least 6 feet, which we can all reach up to that. So I overestimated putting my bungee cords up. That's on the mosquito net. I'm a bungee cord guy, so I'll put that here. Overall, pretty cool, man. Now the zipper functions perfectly. You have 2, so you can open it at either end, and we just grunt it. Works fine. I even put some tension on it down there just to give it, just to mess with it a little more. So let's step in there like a grunt. Now you've got some holes, no biggie. Skeeters ain't gonna find those so easily. You can see how much overlap you have here. That's good. That's at least a foot. That's good. So stuff shouldn't be coming up in there. That hole's not an issue. That's why they make it small. You got a critter trying to get up here. See if he finds his way in. Now, of course, if you're worried about snakes and crawling things, they will come up under. So I would only suggest they just put a whole bunch more stakeout points so you could go around. But then again, who wants to put 100 stakes out? All right, so that's pretty cool. I was kind of upset once I started looking at it. So I've got, this is on the mosquito net, and I've got that on my bungee cord. So I guess if you're a ridgeline guy, you should probably put your ridgeline through that before you put up your tarp. Yep, getting some sun out here. So that's pretty cool. I'm a lot happier than when I first looked at it. I got it all staked out, everything is secure. So the tarp has survived the heavy winds and my hardcore sprinklers. So we're gonna leave this set up just like this. We're gonna have some high winds for the next couple days again, and we'll see how the whole thing does. But everything so far seems to be pretty squared away, so cool. What I've seen the other guys have to do with their hammock is some of them pulled it through the zipper part and then zipped up to the hammock. There's buttons along the top up here, so I'm going to try to undo those and pull it down further, and I'm going to try to put my hammock strap through that button up part. I'm pretty sure that's what it's designed for, so let's give that a shot and we'll see. All right, so there's my standard camping hammock, and I usually put my tree huggers about head height. So you can see that's just standard for me, how I do it, and that's how I get the natural curve I want once I actually get into it. Now, I had to go to the last snap. So you see where it's sitting on the tarp. And once I got in there, it pulled it down a little bit. I'll show you guys in a minute. But I was just gonna show you with that top snap going, you still have plenty of overlap on the tarp. So I'm not worried about anything getting in there. My only concern is on this side. I've got this being pulled down here. We got a pretty significant hole here, so let's see if we can get that out. Because if I put it on the outside, it's just going to slide up like that, and we got that giant hole. Okay, so what about if we put it like that? What does that do for us? God damn. I mean, anytime I've sat around watching mosquitoes do their thing, I've never seen them go find holes. They would just fly straight to me, sit on mesh, and then just hang out on the mesh. So I guess if you have some cockroaches or, you know, something else crawling around, they might eventually find that hole. But it's not any more significant than any of the other holes. So see, this is my hammock strap hole. It's sitting right here on their edge. So let's check it out. Yeah, there we go. You see I got the backpacker camping orange hammock for out here. And that's mainly just because where I am, I do want to be seen as a person if something's going on. I'm happy. Not bad at all. You know, I haven't slept with a large tarp in a while, at least not in a hammock. So I am liking that their netting system forced me to put it up higher. So while I'm sleeping, you know, this is about head level. So you can actually see 360 all around your feet. So some of the bigger animals a lot of people are worried about, you know, you hear something, you can see. That's kind of cool. A lot of tent campers, they seem to give off this illusion of security that you have with the tent. Like, guys, I don't care how thick your tent is. If an animal wants to come in there and get you, it's going to just destroy that and come after you. So my philosophy is I like to have, I do like the openness, and I like to be able to see. All right, so there's one of our friends that crawled in. Now, like I said, you're not sealed off from the ground. So stuff is definitely going to be coming through here. And yep, snakes will go under there. But hey, that's why I sleep in hammocks. So you don't have to deal with any of that while you're suspended. So this is the Bushman thermal blanket. It's better than the poncho liner, and it's better than the Snug Pack jungle blanket. That's all I'm going to say for now. So go check out that Grunt proof if it's up. If not, it's going to have to wait. Get in the shower. So I've taken one nap in here and fell asleep in it last night. But I don't have anything in the hammock, so I got cold and got up and went inside. But otherwise, doing good. Alrighty, 1 week of being out here, getting battered. Dust, wind, sand. You can see how got some sand coated in there. No rain, but my sprinklers coated it twice a day. and it's holding up just fine. As I've mentioned before, one of the main rules of camping tents and tarps is you're never supposed to set it up for long-term use, because it's not like a fixed, in-placed shelter. You know, it's temporary. So that's a good long-term test. Leave something up, let it get beat up in the wind and, you know, other parts of the environment. It's held up totally fine. So I will be using this camping for the next couple months, and I'm gonna play with it even more. I will give you guys an update. But for now, this system, especially the tarp, I like the tarp. It's 12 feet, but it's freaking ultralight. There's the weight again. The mosquito net is a really cool concept. I wish there was some kind of floor or something to put a barrier on the ground, but otherwise it's a really awesome, neat, that's right, I said neat system. So far, the Onewind tarp and bug net system is friggin' awesome. So once again, I will come back to you guys at a later date and give you the final verdict. Otherwise, I'm pretty happy with it. When I pack it up, I'm only gonna remove the stakes and the straps that I have to. Other than that, it's all gonna get rolled up into a ball, and I'm gonna try to put it back into its own stuff sack, because it's so complicated and it takes so much time to set up, stringing these guy lines up through the net and everything. I want to try to avoid that. So the way I set up tarps and everything, I always have everything ready to go. So I just ball it up, put it together. When I get out in the woods, I stretch it out, and it's usually ready to put up. So I'm gonna let this dry out and we'll do that and see. All right, now let's try to pack this thing up, see if we can fit it all in the main bug net tarp. Pretty windy today, so it's gonna be interesting. So typically something mesh like that, you might not want to just sprawl on the ground. I'm gonna though, because it's part of the testing. Abuse your equipment if you really want to see what it's capable of. Look at all those stakes, man. Outstanding. So we got 4 for the tarp and 6 for the netting. So I'm gonna leave 4 with the tarp and put the 6 with the netting. I don't think their stuff sack is designed the way I do stuff. Now people cuss me out when I get mad about these stuff sacks. But look, man, this is how you do it in the field. If you're in perfect dry conditions with 0 wind, yeah, go ahead and roll your tarp up nice and neat. But any other weather conditions, you're not doing that. You're just gonna frustrate yourself, because you're gonna spend more time freezing or getting wet trying to roll your stuff up nice and pretty, and then you're still not gonna be able to get it into the stuff sack easily because it's cold and wet or windy. So all stuff sacks should be designed that way. And if you don't like that, you're probably watching the wrong channel. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry. And there we go. So, got a bunch of slack on this end. That's where I'll try to force in the stakes. Your stakes have to go with your equipment. All right. Everything is in there. The tarp, stakes, all their beaners, and the thing hasn't exploded. It will though. Single stitch, weak freaking holders. So once again, companies, make a larger stuff sack and reinforce the stitching. Just spend the extra $5 or whatever, however much it costs to do that. We will pay for a strong stuff sack. You know, and people say, well, once you destroy it, you use your own, or you just use your own anyway. Yeah, okay, well don't send me one with the product then. So that's my only major complaint with this. Light, man, for such a large tarp, light. So they give you this, what appears to be a compression strap, and I don't get the point. So it works, but you tighten it anymore or you bump it and it falls off. So I would tighten this up, and that would be part of my retaining strap. Yeah, whatever. Pretty cool system, man. I'm gonna keep playing with this, but yeah, single stitching all around and single stitching up. Come on, guys. Everything else on this is really cool. I like it. So you guys let me know what you thought down below. Onewind, thanks for sending it out. Pretty cool piece of equipment. My recommendation, if you're going to buy this product and use it in that configuration with the tarp and the mosquito net, I would find a bigger bag that you have laying around to put everything in there together. It's just going to ease your setup. You know, there's a way you could roll it up and get all the cords around it to where it's not a total mess when you pull it out, but that's just more practical for me. So if you're thinking the same thing, you're going to need a bigger stuff sack or storage bag. Thanks for joining me, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one. Be sure to like and subscribe, and until that next video, I will see you guys in the outdoors. Take care of yourselves.